Hey, this is Mike, and this is my Cinco de Mayo tape. I wanted to let everybody know how things are going. It's May the 5th, 2012. Today was a better day than most days I've had up until about 2 or 3 days ago when I got this silly recorder. And when, unfortunately, I opened it up and found that the USB adapter to the computer and the CD editing software disk were not coincidentally not there anymore. They were stolen. And that's unfortunate because now I have to see whether I can store all these items, these messages on this unit alone. I had called Sony and asked them to get me a number of adapters for the unit, including the USB port, a telephone cable, an AC adapter, or a carrying case. And true to form, Sony said, like almost every piece of retail consumer electronics product out there, this ICX 09 or whatever it's called, has been discontinued. And I bought this in, in 09, summer of 09, to document originally the harassment I was receiving at the Crosslands Motel in Springfield, Oregon. I never did get to use it. I never got into a beef with anybody there. I mean, no one actually had the nerve to come and face me down. Instead, they had to use subterfuge to get me out of that motel, but that's another story. So today was a decent day. I have to say that last Cinco de Mayo was a decent day. I was expecting a lot of fireworks, but there weren't any. And it might have been because the local population was starting to understand that what was going on here is really no laughing matter. And further, on reflecting on Mexico's national holiday, which comes almost 6 months before or after Dios de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, one had to start thinking about how effective the Mexican Revolution, how effective it was, how much it affected change. And I frankly put it down tremendously because, for all the hoopla that Mexico was self-governing, and it freed itself from the influence of, I guess, Spain, but not the church, they still remained in shackles, poverty, from the day, I don't know when was it, 1880s? 130 years ago? Some odd. So when you look at who had been running the country during the later decades of the last century, it was, lo and behold, the PRI party, the Revolutionary Party. And what did they accomplish? Well, they built a lot of resorts, and they did push the bill that allowed free access to our markets, and that's good. But really, you still had a tremendous amount of immigration, both legal and illegal, to the United States, and a tremendous amount of poverty, I believe, along with a tremendous amount of pollution. So you'd have to look at anyone thinking that I'm a revolutionary, meaning they were more about destruction than societal construction. When you look at the movements in Chiapas still, and this was supposed to be an indigenous, if it wasn't an indigenous nation or made up of indigenous peoples, I don't know what it was, except it was Spaniards and conquereds. And what's going on there is, the Zapatistas is continued crazy uprisings, folks wearing ski masks in 100-degree heats, posing for the newspapers, and nothing's getting done. You end up with the Colombia-style kidnappings of technocrats or engineering people who know how to splice microwave telephone networks and such. But and of course you've got their main export, which seems to be drugs, with very little effort in sight to legalize them. So last year I spent the 5th chastising people from this room anyway. I don't know if anybody actually heard me, but it was more of a diatribe that there was no cause to celebrate the 5th of May as any kind of holiday, just as there was no cause to celebrate the 1st of May, May Day, as an International Communist Day, because in the end it was a failure, and the people themselves abrogated, did not want to be associated with communism, with Soviet-style communism. Further, I had to admit that on July 4th there should be no fireworks as well, because this society is essentially mort, I guess. Colossal failure, a colonial enterprise. We're looking at 9 years of war in Afghanistan ongoing, and we managed to pull out 7 in Iraq. So as an experiment, I had started to make some tapes of my rides to and from Seattle on these buses, and wanted to record what's going on, which mainly amounted to a lot of people side talking. It had been evidence that they rehearsed what was going on in the bus, that they could read my thoughts, that they responded to my thoughts, and I wanted to get some of this on tape. So I recorded today's ride up north on the 23 up to Fremont, where I did some shopping at PCC, the Natural Food Store. That's not a plug. It happens to be one of the best stores in the country for some of these, some of the delicatessen products, especially. And it's a co-op, so it's a good model, I believe, for the best of what Marketplace has to offer. And also recorded my ride down from there, which turned out to be a repeat of some rides I'd taken before. So the 2 tapes you're going to hear are those rides with me surreptitiously commenting into this, hopefully hoping that I don't get socked along the way by some of these same aggressors who seem to be having fun at mankind's expense. I will say, when I got home, it was very, very quiet here. This recording device has acted as a kind of talisman. Strangely, some of the messages I played back, or some of the rides I played back, the conversations have changed, particularly on the other bus riders' parts. I guess they're using them for blood sport somewhere, or they're ashamed of what they said. But I hope that this talismanic effect is starting to work its magic, and when people's voices are captured, so to speak, and on these devices, it may take away some of their powers. So anyway, you'll hear some bus noise in the background. This device does record voice based on voice response, but there's so much noise that essentially it's an ongoing recording. Anyway, you'll start to get a sense of it. I wanted to get a video recorder, but I'm afraid of pointing at the bus. There's too many out of control people there. So, signing off.